We all want to have a good night's sleep. Isn't that true? Because without sleeping properly, our life won't be very good. And today, in this podcast, we're going to analyze some aspects, something that every Christian, better said, every Catholic, should follow some steps we should all follow before we go to bed so that we can have that restful sleep that we all need and we all desire. So for that, today we have with us once again, Father David Ritchie.
Nice to be with you again, Brother Vincent, Brother Morgan.
And as Father said, we have Brother Morgan again with us here. Welcome.
Good to be with you, Brother Vincent. Hope you had a good night's rest.
I hope we all did.
Father, you as well.
Exactly. Resting. The quality of our sleeping is always important, to rest well. Do you think that God sleeps?
Oh, yeah, he slept in the boat. The apostles went and woke him up and said, "Lord, why are you sleeping? The waves we're gonna shipwreck."
We're gonna perish.
Boat.
Lack of faith on their part. Our Lord was sleeping. Of course, he was gonna take care of everything, but if God sleeps, no, I don't think in heaven God has a lot of things.
But God rests. What's the difference between sleeping and resting? Because sometimes you can sleep without resting, and sometimes you can rest without sleeping.
That's very true, Father. Very true.
That's true.
So, but today we're going to talk, as Brother Vincent introduced, we're going to speak about exactly a few clues, a few things that will help us to sleep better and to have the quality of our sleep, of our slumber, that will truly make us rest. And of course, we sleep in the presence of God, of course, and we imitate something which God placed in nature. I remember once talking with, let's say, he was an acquaintance. He actually was a friend for a long time, even a friend in the same ideal, the same faith, a person who didn't correspond too much to his beliefs afterwards, wasn't too coherent to his beliefs. But once talking, he said, "You know what? If an angel appeared to me, I would, one of the things I would ask for if I had that option would be to be exempt from sleeping. Because in our life, we spend so much time sleeping. If the person sleeps 8 hours a day, after so many years, how many hours, how many years did they actually dedicate only to resting, to sleeping?" And so I would ask him to exempt me from sleeping. But imagine a person that had to be awake 24 hours. What would they do? Oh, I would read, I would rejoice in recreation, I would do this and that. But that's not according to nature. That wouldn't be human.
No, and even you have the whole other side of the coin. Those who are suffering or who have great sufferings during the day, sleep exempts them from their sufferings. So, I mean, one thing is to say, "Oh, I have a great life and everything, so I just want to enjoy life even more." But sleep is a gift from God. It's almost like, look, you can rest for 8 hours.
But in the 21st century, even for some people to go to bed is frustration.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I understand that's where he was coming from, but I mean, it's kind of, anyways. Ask Angel to give me a good night's rest.
It's frustration. People sometimes they wake up frustrated or they wake up in the middle of the night. And that's one of our first points, because today we're going to speak about 5 points that are fundamental to sleep well.
Okay.
Therefore, to rest.
Yeah.
To truly rest. And why do we rest? In order to recover our energy, our strength, in order to work and to live, to develop. And therefore, resting, sleeping well is totally important to our physical health, but it also has a symbolic meaning. Resting also is even more important to the development of our spiritual life. Therefore, our vitality, our spiritual vitality, renewing our spiritual vitality.
Very interesting, Father, because I know many times young heralds would go up to Monsignor and they would be all full of anguish and grief and sadness, and they would
Worries.
ask for a counsel, thinking that they were spiritually doomed, that their spiritual life was going to a bad end, and that they were bad and God was angry with them and all these things. The Monsignor many times would give the same counsel, and he would say, "Look, you just need to go find your pillow, take a nap, or get a good night's rest, and all of your problems, upon awakening, are going to disappear. Because when we're overtired, everything becomes difficult. Things that are little become big."
Is our pillow one of the things that are necessary? The 5 columns of resting well.
That might be one of the things
A
that
good
you
bed.
need to.
A good bed.
I'm sure you had other 5 things in mind, Father. I don't know what's the first.
The first thing, I'm not going to tell you right now. We're going to speak about that at the end because it's something which is more practical.
Okay.
The second thing is analyzing your day.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So before going to bed, you have to analyze your day. Of course, that would most likely be after dinner, after let's say after things are cleaned up in the kitchen, in the dining area, then a little period to have a few minutes, 5 minutes recollection, a little time in which we can close ourselves in our interior sanctuary, let's say in which we can place ourselves more closely in the presence of God.
Okay.
But I wanted to say something about resting as we were talking in our warming up here, warming up preparation. But if we see the why is resting according to God's plan and placed in nature, everything has cycles. And we saw in Genesis, in creation, on the 7th day, God rested. God rested. He created, and then he rested. But his resting, of course, we speak about his resting was an analysis. He saw and he enjoyed, therefore, that which he had created.
Okay.
It was a moment in which could we say that God contemplated? God loves his creatures because God is the only being that must love himself above all things.
Yeah.
We have to forget ourselves and love him
above all things. But God.
See, he is who he is. He has to love himself.
Therefore, he creates everything for his glory, and of course, his creation gives him glory, and that's when he rests in his glory. He rests in seeing that everything that he created was very good.
Okay.
And let's say that's why we have the days, Monday, Tuesday we work, then Saturday we finish off our chores, our practical things, and Sunday we rest, not necessarily because we oversleep, but we spiritually rest because of our worship, and of course we put aside that which is working for money, working for...
It's interesting you mentioned that, Father, because in our century we've kind of, there's so much agitation and so many things to do. And there's only 24 hours in one day. And so we think we have to go and do. And then after dinner, we have to keep on doing and then take a few minutes, say a quick prayer and go to bed and then get up and keep doing it. And
that's if we say a quick prayer.
Yeah.
But what you're telling there, it's God created creation with a harmony, with a rhythm. So everything has a cycle. So the sun comes up, then the sun sets in the evening, and we wake up, and then we breakfast, and then our lives have to be harmonious. They have to enter into a cycle.
Yes.
And
that's good customs.
And that's good customs.
Good habits. And so after dinner, I know that there are some families that and we're speaking about our second point, but some families, after dinner, they clean up quickly, or they leave everything in order. The mother may even afterwards, and they pray a rosary together. 5
Yeah.
mysteries. They pray a rosary, divide up the mysteries sometimes between the children, depending on the age of the children, and they take that moment to actually to kind of to
Wind down.
Yeah.
wind down,
Yeah.
to pull out the plugs,
Yeah.
right?
Start turning off.
Turning off agitation, and of course the rhythm of the rosary, the prayer of the rosary. Some people, they pray the rosary together with the television or together with the
On their phone or
phones, but that's not the best thing to do,
Mhm.
right? Because the temptation, in order to be connected to an exterior world, you have to bring God into your home, bring God into especially into that moment of reflection.
Okay.
So that second point that we're talking about is exactly to analyze a bit your day, not during the rosary, but right after. If you're going to pray a rosary at that moment, if you already finished your prayers, also, therefore, what would you do specifically? You would analyze. What would you analyze to see how your day went, especially if you fulfilled your spiritual chores. Of course, your physical chores too. But did you pray at least 5 decades with the rosary? Did you pray your consecration prayer? Of course, maybe you might want to pray your consecration prayer at that moment if your schedule did not allow to pray your consecration prayer before. And of course,
But that's you mentioned about the consecration. I was gonna mention about that there, that for most of you that are following us in the podcast have made your consecration. But if there's anybody that hasn't made their consecration yet, we're gonna leave a link for this consecration in the description of this video. And I recommend, if you haven't made your consecration, to click on it to find out more about it. It's totally free, and I guarantee you that it will change your life. And those of you that made your consecration and you've witnessed in your own life how it's changed, how our Blessed Mother has made a difference in your life, to share that with other people that haven't made their consecration. And then, like Father was saying there about praying your consecration, that's something that we always like to encourage the people, recommend them to renew this consecration every day. And you can do it in the morning or whatever. But like Father said, have a schedule there so you can.
And to analyze, therefore, at that moment in the end of the day, how your day went. Of course, one of the things we have to have in our spiritual life, we always have a plan for our day. Whether you work at home or you work in an office or work in the field, work in transportation, whatever your job is, if you're a homemaker, then you're taking care of your children, or if you're a teacher. But of course, many times our day is according to our job, according to our office, our daily chores. But we should analyze if that which we have in mind, planned, actually went according to our plan, but especially our spiritual prayers. So therefore, our life of piety. We have to have a plan which is very set, plan A. If because our plan A doesn't work, then we fall back on a plan B. But we should, as soon as our plan A of our schedule doesn't work, we have to reschedule, readapt, so that our spiritual obligations are not neglected. So that would be the first point, stopping to analyze. Also, I'd say
the second point, right, Father? Because the first point you're going
that's the
to
second
share
point.
with the end.
The third point, I would already go to the third point, which is very tied in to the second point, is an examination of conscience. That would be our third point. An examination of conscience to see if we actually lived according to what we believe. Do we, what our goals are, did we live according to that? And 3 things people say, oh, it's so hard to examine our conscience. two things that we have to do in examination of conscience: how we related, how we spoke, how we were influenced by God's presence.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, our trespasses, did we do
Mhm.
harm other people? Three things we have to analyze. First is, did I live up to my beliefs? Did I pray? Therefore, my life of piety, was that in coherence with my priority? Second thing, did I obey my schedule?
Mhm.
Therefore, did I obey my routines? Did I obey, if I'm a religious, did I obey my superiors?
Mm.
If I'm a wife, did I obey my relationship with my husband and with my children? How do I relate to my children? How do I relate to my husband? If I'm a father in the family, did I worry about being a good example for my children? Right? Was it I obedient to my faith,
Yeah.
Right.
to the church? Was I obedient to my resolutions and my goals in life,
Mm.
my higher goals?
Mhm.
So, and then a third point. So we have piety. Therefore,
Mhm.
I'd say obedience to God,
Mhm.
and a third point would definitely be how I dealt with other people. What was my
Mhm.
charity?
Mhm.
Right? We love God above all things. That's expressed in being faithful to our religious obligations.
Mhm.
Then, and our neighbor, loving our neighbor as
Mhm.
ourselves. At work,
Hmm.
at school,
In the grocery store. Yeah.
supermarket, at the dentist, at the doctor. How was my relationship? Was that a good example to my children? Or
Mhm.
if I'm a young person at college, um, how did I relate to the teachers? How did I relate to my colleagues?
Mhm.
Was I a good example always? Did I use words, or did I use customs that would be harmful to others or be harmful to myself?
Mhm.
So that's another thing we must analyze. Also, did God speak to us? Did our guardian angel talk to us? Did he inspire us? Did he call our attention? Did he pull our ear? Guardian
Yeah.
angel, because our guardian
Yeah.
angel sometimes talks.
Mhm.
I know a person who one time wasn't leading a very good life. Of course, these are things that sometimes people don't believe in, but I believe tremendously. Wasn't leading a good life and started to have a problem of conscience. And at a certain moment was doing something and felt someone, paf, great
What?
smack in the cheek. And the person woke up. The person was awake, but woke up to a new reality. Said, "What was that?" And realized right away, had no doubt, that was my guardian angel.
Hmm.
That was my guardian angel. I can't continue living this way. I have to change.
Wow.
The person stopped their sinful life, changed totally,
Mhm.
started practicing the faith, became very coherent, and even started to be a disciple and bring other people to the church, to the faith,
Oh, wow.
to be totally coherent, and to live out the values, the Catholic values, in everyday life. And so we see that's our third point. I don't
Mhm.
know if you wanted to add something to that.
That's something. No, but you mentioned the guardian angel, and I remembered again the consecration,
Mhm.
consecration course,
Mhm.
because I think nowadays one thing that our guardian angel is constantly inspiring us to do is to consecrate ourselves to Our Lady. Not just consecrate ourselves to Our Lady for those who are already consecrated,
Mhm.
but to grow in devotion to Our Lady. And so above all, for those who haven't consecrated themselves to Our Lady, I think that there's a link or
Yep.
something
Mhm. So.
good to click on it, because your guardian angel will be extremely happy.
Mhm.
But about the second and the third point that Father David just mentioned, do have a question, Father, because you gave an
I'm
extraordinary.
not finished with our third point. There's still a little
So,
aspect.
you want to add it in now, or
No, go ahead.
okay? So, the thing is, Father, you gave an extraordinary examination of conscience, and you gave these points about how we should look back on our day. You talked about to first analyze our beliefs, then you said to analyze our piety, and you included obedience in there, and then the third was our relationship with others. How did we treat others during our day? Now, how
Relationship with God, and then after, of course, relationship with those who represent God, and then relationship with those who are also our neighbor, but are not authorities.
right?
Right? We don't pay obedience to them, but we pay what
You
respect.
talked about charity
honor,
there,
charity,
the acts of
yes.
charity, living a charitable life. So how is that going to help us to sleep better? Because
But that's one of the things that we're doing at night, right? We're speaking about the things that we have to do before sleeping. So when I make an examination of conscience, that's one of the things that I analyze my day. Then I analyze where my weaknesses are, and in order to analyze my weaknesses, I have to go over to see what my relationship with God was, with neighbor, with obedience, with.
because it occurred to me that, I mean, in a certain sense, that's going to help a Catholic sleep better. Why? Because he's going to be at peace.
At peace.
He's going to be at peace with himself, because before going to bed, he analyzed his day. If he did something wrong, he's going to ask forgiveness.
Jesus even taught, before you go to the altar to make your offering, you should reconcile with your neighbor. If your neighbor has anything against you, you should place harmony in your relationship. So of course, you could also apply that to going to sleep, because your bed is actually the altar. The altar where I offer myself up to God. Maybe we should leave that more to the end of our story. But especially, there's a saying, Professor Plinio Coelho de Oliveira and Monsignor João, founder of the Heralds, repeated that many times. Our bed is the altar of the chaste person, the chaste man. So we already talked about that.
We did, I think, in another podcast we mentioned that. But also, but it's not just that. It's the fact that when you're at peace, when you're not worrying about something, you can go into that deep sleep. And one time I remember Monsignor João, our founder, who in a meeting, he was talking about Our Lady. And he started talking, imagining how Our Lady was in her life. And he imagines that Our Lady, when it was time to sleep, she would simply lay down and immediately fall to sleep, because Our Lady was always at peace with God. She had no anxiety and all of these things that, above all in our century, that we suffer. And so you see that peace, like, analyzing your day and putting everything into perspective, not letting things exasperate, or sometimes you think it's like you're in a whirlwind, or and it's not. And the fact that you analyze things, you see that no, things are fine, and so you go to sleep in peace.
You know what?
I don't know what you think, Father. If
I
that's
think so.
Along the lines of what you
that's so beautiful. Yesterday, I was waiting for the people the confession line, but there was a mass, and we were attending, and all of a sudden, a mother with her baby was going by near the confessional, and the baby started to cry, and it was like babies have such a great stamina to cry. Incredible how they can yell, the volume and the air, and even though it seems like they're gonna choke, they just continue crying and yelling. And I was thinking, why do babies cry like that? And they can cry for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
They don't lose their voice.
They don't lose
Yeah.
their voice, but that's because they breathe with a diagram. It's like, professional singers. If you see a baby, it does the same thing. They feel. I mean, this is a parenthesis, but they feel the air from below. They don't feel. They feel.
And
they
that
feel,
affects
And
how
that
the
gives you more.
it sustains the voice. So, but in any case, but I was thinking, why is this baby crying? Of course, the baby is not crying rationally. It's something instinctive. It's something
right, yeah.
more part of the animal aspect of human beings. But because they felt that something, they're afraid actually of something. But if they could think, if a baby could think, they're in, and in this case, it wasn't only the mother, the father was together. So if the baby could think, I'm in the hands of my mother, she's the person in this world who most loves me. She brought me into this world. She helps me. She caresses me. She's going to give me nourishment. She's going to clean me. She's going to caress me, to hug me. She's going to take care of me, bring me to heaven. What? Of course, the child doesn't think that way. But if the child could think, there's nothing to worry about. What is a monster going to come and
Right.
eat the child? Nothing's going to happen. Then if the child could think, my father is by me, if any murderer comes by or someone who's dangerous, I have nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing to fear. But of course, the instinct is that I'm alone. No one's gonna help me. I'm in a situation of abandonment, and that's the impression, the animal instinct. Of course, that's what God puts reason into us. And when we're accustomed, when we're habitually, we refer to God as a father, as a brother, as a mother, as someone who wants our good, then we sleep better. We rest. We truly sleep. We not only sleep, but we rest.
Father, could I, if you allow me to make an objection that people might have with in this point here, is that,
Of course.
because like Brother Morgan was saying there, if by recognizing all these things there and asking forgiveness, we will be at peace. But some of them might say, but if I start thinking about all the things that I did wrong during the day, everything where I went wrong, did this, wasn't charitable with this person, like that might start making me get anxious and anxiety, and I won't be able to sleep properly because I'll be thinking about all these things wrong that I did. So why is
my
it
weaknesses and all of my
so how is by examining all those things that we did, the weaknesses, the parts we have to correct and do there, how will that help with the
of course, when it's any human activity, you have, in order to become perfect, and our Lord said, be perfect as my heavenly Father is perfect, St. Matthew. Of course, we're in the search for perfection, and it's just like in your profession, or even, for instance, if you take a teaching of Cicero, right? When we all know, we've heard of Cicero. I don't know if you. He speaks about rhetoric. About what is rhetoric? Rhetoric is the art of speaking, the art of communicating well. And he says we have to have three things that we do in rhetoric. We have to prove. We have to be nice in the sense that we have to put our way of speaking in a beautiful formula. Be agreeable, and we have to move. Therefore, we have to penetrate into the will of others, to make them move along.
Okay.
So in order to have rhetoric, in order to speak well, the art of speaking well, we have to, in order to prove, but we cannot only prove, because that would be something which would be something totally scientific.
Yeah.
You have to be agreeable, therefore nice. Has to have, your speech must be beautiful, and then as well you must move, therefore penetrate and let that person like bring them along, right? So if I want to be a teacher, if I want to be a spokesman or journalist or whatever, there are so many professions in which we need the art of speech, I have to put myself under the analysis of others. And many times I have to, even a baseball player, a football player, a soccer player, many times they film, or even a musician, they record their sounds and they analyze, and they have a teacher, and someone improves. So imagine in the art of going to heaven, which is the art of going to heaven, we have to rest. We have to rest, but also put our trust in God. If there's something which is not good, He's my master, He's my Father, He's my teacher, He's going to correct. I'm willing to submit my errors, to acknowledge. And that's where humility comes in. Meek, Jesus is meek and humble of heart. I know I'm not perfect. I'm walking along. I'm going to make it with His help. So any student who's has sense is not senseless. Someone says, we need help. We like the help of others. That's why I was talking about the child crying. If the child could think, right, well,
there's no reason.
My mother's only going to help me.
Right.
She's only going to help me. So the same thing, when I recall my defects, I have a base in order to overcome my defects. If I'm blind to my defects, I'm not going to have the remedy. You know, ever heard about Our Lady of Remedies?
Yeah, of course.
Our Lady of Remedies. So if I don't acknowledge my faults, I don't have the remedy for my faults. That shouldn't give us disturbance if we confide, if we're in the hands of our Father and our Mother, then we'll be fine.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense, yeah. So what's the...
So can we move on?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so of course, you're speaking about sins, how they can disturb us. But of course, if we have hatred for sin, Saint Benedict says that if we have hatred for sins, then we're going to cleanse ourselves from sins. And of course, love and hatred are the two sides of the same coin. Therefore, we reject, we abhor that which is contrary to God's will, and we love. That's one of our prayers. That's one of our prayers, that at the end of the day, give me the grace, my mother, give me the grace in order to call upon me, to penetrate with myself, to fill myself with love. Everything was according to your will, everything which is beautiful according to the divine majesty. Saint Ignatius spoke about that. And also reject everything which is contrary to thy will, to thy image, to thy magnificence, to thy... That makes a very beautiful prayer. And our fourth point is to make good resolutions. At least one resolution. We should always have Saint Ignatius of Loyola. He speaks about even that in the Ignatian retreats.
Right.
He received, of course, the outline for his retreats. The tradition tells us that Saint Ignatius received that dictated by the Blessed Virgin Mary. How he should go on to preach his retreats and convert souls to the path of perfection. And one of the things he says in the examination of conscience is that in our resolutions, we should choose one point to improve. So if I'm lazy, the alarm clock, turn off the alarm clock and I sleep 10 minutes more overtime, 15 minutes, a half hour, and I'm going to get late for work, or I'm going to get late for school, or I'm going to get late for
mass.
I have to overcome that. That's a point. 1 week, 2 weeks. When do I go on to another point to correct another point, to make another good resolution? When I'm morally certain that I've overcome that defect.
So that could even be part of the particular examine before going to bed, is above all that one point that I made
specific
the
examination.
resolution the night before to
Yeah.
put into practice.
How did
I put it into practice or not?
Right.
That makes things pretty simple, because if not, it could be a little overwhelming to analyze if you don't have much time to analyze, everything. But at least the one point, you guarantee that you analyzed and you made a new resolution. And each day, you
Of
see your
course, we should
progression.
have in mind the acts of piety, our obedience to our life, our religious beliefs, and also to one another.
Right.
But of course, always taking that we have to be fighting and improving with one goal. One goal, one specific concrete goal is very important.
Yeah, one central point to always.
Yeah, because if you
when I've overcome that, I find I search
if you're
for
to
the
make
next
also
point.
more than one resolution, like say 2 or 3 different points, it's gonna be a lot harder for you to.
We're talking about the point might be laziness for some people, right? But it might be treating others in a with brutality, therefore in a rough way. Whenever someone asks me a question, I always answer
like a brute.
I always, or I.
You're searching for words.
No, yeah, I'm searching for words. We need Cicero's rhetoric. But I answer in imperfect fashion,
Yeah.
the uncharitable fashion. Whenever someone asked me something, I said, "Whoa, why don't you look that up for yourself?"
Yeah.
Right.
My goodness gracious, you're not God, right? Even God, when you ask him for something, he says, "Yes, my child, what do you want?" So in a charitable fashion. Or if I always make a joke about someone asks me something, and I always ridicularise them or ridicule them, ridicularize or to ridicule someone with my answer, even in an indirect way, that's a very poor personality.
Yeah.
So we have to sometimes our specific examination of conscience, our specific point for improvement, maybe dealing with the way we deal with others, charity. And of course, making the resolutions. Our fifth point, that's our fourth point, our specific examination. Our fifth point is to offer your sleep to the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, even my breathing, that be for God's glory. May my slumber, my rest be in union with all the angels and saints, and especially with the Mother of God, and to lie down knowing that we're being looked at and seen, covered, if it's cold, covered by the mantle of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Okay.
And there's also something which is like a tip, a very holy tip, let's say.
Okay.
There's some people who can't sleep right away. I don't know about brothers. If you lie down and just fall asleep, for some people it takes like 30 seconds, they're already sleeping. But some other people it takes a half hour, 1 hour. But something that of course, you can never pray your rosary in bed because that's dangerous. But you already prayed your rosary, at least 5 mysteries. Pull out your rosary because that's one of the things. You can never sleep without your sword. Our sword, like Saint Ferdinand, the holy king of Spain. He always slept with his sword. Always. In combat,
even when he wasn't in battle.
When he wasn't in battle, he slept with his sword. Our sword is our rosary. So we have to put our rosary in our pocket, around our neck, and then if you can't sleep, start praying the Hail Mary. Our Lady will put you to sleep. It's the best lullaby. Hail Mary is the best lullaby.
True.
And now our first point that we left.
Oh yeah, that's right. There we got the one there that was relief for the end. What is the
What exactly is the first?
Our first point is to make the lights duller.
dim?
Dim
the lights.
the lights there, because even the physical lights, but some of the agitation, the agitation of day, we have to become calm, like just like chamomile tea. You drink
yeah.
a little bit of tea. There's some people that drink tea at nighttime in order to soothe the stomach, and to drink something hot or something that will calm down. We need to soothe also our eyes. And even this is scientifically proved. Doctors speak about lights. So the cell phone should not be used. And if it's essential for something, we should use it not looking at the light.
Okay.
Not looking at the light, because the light of screens are
Would that be the computer screen as well?
the computer screen as well.
Yeah.
All screens, television screens, all screens, they have they emit lights that make our neurons keep working. So 2 hours before bed, the lights have to dim. And of course, we shouldn't even take our cell phone into our bedroom. The best would be to leave your cell phones out.
Yeah.
And not even into the washroom, to the bathroom.
Right.
Cell phones and other gadgets, which but I like to listen to calm music and this and that. Okay, one thing is calm music, but that's not the light, which is, but can I read at night? Yes, from a book.
Yeah.
You read from a book. And then you have indirect light, like those little lamp spotlights that's not coming into your eyes. The reflection of the light on the book, does that harm? Much less than any screen.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly.
So that's
for
something scientific.
And you could even, say, oh, but I fall asleep. I don't take a long time to fall asleep. But the thing is that during the night, you're not going to get a restful sleep if you were looking at all of these screens right before going.
Restful sleep.
Your mind.
Even in the houses of the Heralds of the Gospel, Monsignor Jean, he spoke about that, something so beautiful. He said at a certain moment, we actually have a sign, a signal, which is the bell, the monastic bell, which means grand silence. Grand silence means no agitation, no noise, and therefore humans, men, quiet in order to let the angels speak.
Yeah.
Even the lights, they're all indirect lights that are
They're dimmer
turned
the lights
on,
in there.
or they're so it's
Yeah, because the thing is, like you said, with the phone there, if you keep it close by, there's always going to be something popping up, something going to be. And how many people lose hours of sleep
Hours of sleep.
because they simply don't be just one more thing and one more before you know
one
it.
more turns into 10, then
Yeah,
turns
before you know it, there's just one more
You're
message.
always going to have things to deal with. And if you don't have the cell phone, it might even be a conversation,
Yeah.
a useless conversation many times. But the cell phone is much worse. It's better to speak with human beings than with machines.
Yeah. That's,
Very well, Father.
well, Father, I'm sure this is going to help a lot to people too.
And that was our first point that we left for the end. But of course, we go dimming off the artificial light because God already made his light, which is the sun, go down. And then he turns on the light of the angels, the communication. That's very architectonic. That's something which is part of the divine cycle.
Well,
Isn't that beautiful?
Very beautiful. That's
So
very, very beautiful.
We hope this conversation was useful, especially spiritually. And it's so good to talk about these things because it fills us with new lights.
Yeah, it really does. It's
Yeah,
good
because
to
sometimes
reflect.
you know certain things, but by speaking about these different things, it brings back. You start to remember those things from that you might have. You're dusting off. It's like when you're cleaning your room and dusting things off there.
Should we renew the 5 points?
Sure.
So the first point is diminish, turn off, distance machines,
especially lights.
that which are screens.
Screens.
Lights, to diminish the lights in order to let the angels speak. Therefore, even conversation. Another thing is, of course, we analyze our day, especially our prayers. We analyze what we did, what we didn't do, and then that brings in the third point, which is the examination of conscience. Therefore, our religious duties, coherence with our faith, and also charity towards our neighbor. Then we have our fourth point is our resolutions. Therefore, our specific examination, how we're doing with that battle, with that one point that we're getting over, whether it be laziness, softness, we're always procrastinating, our choices are not hierarchical, we're not dedicating ourselves to that which is most important, or it may be in our dealing with others, if we're always upset, we're always rude, that's our fourth point. And our fifth point is offering up our sleep to the Blessed Virgin Mary, sleeping with our angels and sleeping beneath the gaze of the Blessed Virgin Mary. If you can't get to sleep, pray something.
Pull out your rosary there and start praying. You'll fall asleep very quickly. Oh.
All right, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Father.
Extraordinary.
So now could you...
Shall we give the blessing? This blessing is that today everyone may rest tremendously, sleep, have the best sleep. If you dream something, that might be a good sign, especially if you dream with heavenly things. Let's ask the Blessed Virgin Mary that she gives us the inspirations in our slumber so that we have new strength to serve and to pray and to glorify for the coming of the kingdom of Christ, and especially the reign of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Amen.
To all of you who are consecrated to her, the blessing, and those who are going to do their consecration, may they be strengthened with this blessing in order to follow the path through Mary to Jesus. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you forever.
Amen.
Salve Maria.
Salve Maria.